afternoon and welcome to Woodbridge, the best town around. My name is John McCormick. I'm the mayor of this great town, and we're here today for the always pleasant task of welcoming a new business to town. In this case, it is the Park Luxury Apartment Complex that we are so proud of, and we're so happy to be here to see this opening up. So let me first introduce some of the people at the dais here who won't be speaking. You'll hear from the speakers later. To my far left is Councilman Greg Ficarra. He's a councilman at large and longtime Woodbridge proper resident. To his right is Sharon McAuliffe. She is the first ward councilman covering this part of town, Woodbridge proper and Seawarren. To her right is Heather Lamata, who's the deputy director of the Woodbridge Redevelopment Agency. And to her right is Marta Levski, our planning director. The rest of the people behind me will be speaking. The train had to come in now, didn't it? So this project was unbelievably important for us as we worked on the downtown. Right here, literally a stone's throw from the train station, the Woodbridge train station, was a 58-unit senior housing complex called Stern Towers. It was 58 years old. It was the concrete jungle. It was awful living conditions. There was nothing to be proud of about it. The seniors were largely immobile. There was 58 parking spots. I never saw more than 20 cars here ever. And the last thing you would do if you were building a downtown from scratch, the last thing you would do is put a senior housing complex a half a block from a commuter train station. It was just very awkwardly placed. So we turned to Bob Paulus from Wick Companies, who's somebody we've known. I've known him forever from his involvement in New Brunswick, back still in the day. So he had a great and terrific reputation. So we engaged him for a project here, and what he did first was built the Red Oak senior complex, and that was 58 brand new apartments. And I'll tell you, the day we had the dedication of that, we had seniors crying when they were looking at their new apartments and the new amenities in the building and the activities going on there. It's just amazing. Their whole quality of life changed for the positive. And then he turned around, knocked down Stern Towers, and built this beautiful facility behind us. It's a great project. It's a project we love so much that we want to do the same thing in Ford's. On New Brunswick Avenue, right next to the Olson Senior Complex, is the old Ford's Theater, which is dilapidated, and I'm surprised it hasn't fallen down yet. So we are participating with Bob, and we're going to buy the Ford's Theater and turn it over to him. He's going to knock it down. He's going to build the brand new Olson Towers on that site, and then right next door, knock down Olson Towers and bring a luxury apartment living to New Brunswick Avenue and Ford's. This is so important to our vision of downtown. Since everything's happened here, we've had Strickland Steakhouse sign on to open up, and that's a project Bob helped us with because we bought the old bank building on Main Street, 106 Main, to keep it from going to someone else who was going to make it a nursing school. Nothing against nurses, but they're here from 8:30 to 4:30. They brown bagged their lunch, and there's no activity there at night, and there's nothing going on. So we bought it, and then we flipped it to Bob, who now signed a deal with Strickland Steakhouse. Mike Strickland's from Port Reading, owns West Shore Inn in Staten Island. The best steakhouse on Staten Island, is voted every year, and he's building Strickland Steakhouse. We're hoping it's open before Christmas. Bob helped make that happen. That's why we love him and Wick Companies as a developer. We also had an opportunity on the corner of Route 1 and Route 35, the largest undeveloped site left in Woodbridge Township. It's about 15 acres, used to be the Pier 1 Imports, and we had a vision there. Unfortunately, the owner of the property didn't share our vision. He was the redeveloper. We had to go to court and get him off the site as the redeveloper. So the first person we turned to was Bob Paulus, and now Wick Companies is the redeveloper named for that site, and he's already working on a whole bunch of different options. In fact, I signed a letter today that you helped, you asked me to write to. I can't tell you who I sent it to, and start the rumor mill going all over the place. But we love dealing with Bob Paulus and his two sons and the company. They have been just a pleasure, and it's so important to us to have people like that. So let me continue on Main Street. The owner of Big Shots purchased J.J. Biddings. It's now the Woodbridge Brewery. He's invested already close to $1 million, and by the time he's done, it'll be about $1.5 million in that facility. He's expanding the rooftop terrace. He's building a beer garden behind it. He's renovating the entire inside, and it's a fantastic investment. Sharon McAuliffe, who is up here, is the owner of Not Just Bagels, which closed on the site around the corner several years ago. With COVID, nothing was happening, but now she's ready and building her new place on Upper Main Street. The ice cream store opened up. There's just so much happening here in Main Street, and we're so happy that Bob is our partner. So now with that introduction, I don't know how you can get better than that, Bob, but I'd like to now introduce our partner, our friend, and a guy we all love and respect, Mr. Bob Paulus of Wick Companies.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it. Well, the mayor's certainly going to keep me busy for quite a bit, and I appreciate those kind words. So I'd like to just give you a little history about this project. And first of all, my name is Bob Paulus, and I'm here with my two sons, Dan and Tim. Our company is Wick Companies, and we're the redeveloper and the owner of the park at Woodbridge Station. That's the newest 146-unit apartment community. We'd like to thank everyone in attendance today and in celebration of this multi-phase redevelopment plan for downtown Woodbridge area. Our gratitude goes out to the Mayor McCormick, Woodbridge Township Council, the Redevelopment Agency, Housing Authority, Planning Board, and all that assisted us to make this a successful completion. Our family actually has been residing and working in Woodbridge Township going back to the 1930s. Dan and Tim grew up here in Fords, Woodbridge, and I've spent my entire business career here in Woodbridge. So, you know, this is especially important to our family this day. During the past 4 years, we've developed an even closer relationship and working relationship with the government in Woodbridge. I've seen mayors come, but mostly go. But we're so fortunate to have a mayor like John McCormick, who's dedicated and here to stay. Okay. You know, actually, today is not so much about the park at Woodbridge Station, but it's what has been accomplished by Woodbridge under the staged downtown redevelopment plan. As the mayor said, we stand on the site of the former 58-year-old Stern Tower Senior Citizen Building. It was built in 1964. It was an old HUD project, and it had long reached its need of replacement. The redevelopment site included the demolition of the Stern Towers with replacement of brand new senior housing for the 60 units. With vision and financial wizardry by the mayor, carried out by Carolyn Ehrlich, Chief of Staff, Executive Director of the Redevelopment Agency, Marta Darden, Director of Planning and Development, along with Donna Brightman, Executive Director of the Housing Authority. The Red Oak Manor, a modern 60-unit affordable low-rise senior community, was built next to Sycamore Senior Citizen in Seawarm. In October of 2019, 60 seniors were moved from the oldest housing complex in Woodbridge to the Red Oak Manor, its newest senior community. Wick was the general contractor and redeveloper of the $13.6 million project, which was funded by Woodbridge, but without any taxpayer dollars. Then in November of 2019, the demolition of the old dreary brick and block Stern Towers was finally no more and making way for what you see today. Not only were there 60 new affordable senior housing units brought online, but also 22 new affordable apartments right here in the park at Woodbridge Station. The downtown Woodbridge redevelopment plan has already and will continue to fuel and revitalize downtown Woodbridge with new families, new restaurants, and new businesses popping up every day. So it's really not so much about building apartments, but providing for our seniors, providing affordable new housing, and building a new future for downtown Woodbridge. Our family is fortunate to be part of this unique downtown redevelopment program and the completion of the park at Woodbridge Station, and right here in our own hometown. Again, we thank everybody who supported us and guided us through this process. And now my son Dan will tell you how it got done.
Good afternoon, Mayor McCormick, distinguished guests, and dear friends. We stand here today in the shadows of what we think is a beautiful, classic structure that appears as if it had been part of the neighborhood for quite some time. Brick, reminiscent of the Board of Education building on School Street. Limestone facade akin to the former bank building on Main Street. Tan clapboard like the houses across the park. Building a 6-story apartment building on the site of the former Stern Towers in a quiet local neighborhood was never going to be easy. Our property spans from curb to curb and block to block. Logistically, this would be a challenge from day one and meant that each phase of the construction would impact an area well beyond the gates of the project. From keeping dump trucks off Main Street to daily sweeping and hosing down of Brook Street, Pearl, and North James Street, we were always mindful of our impact to the area. While this project created hundreds of jobs and the needs for goods and services in downtown Woodbridge, at any given time, there were over 150 skilled tradesmen and women on our job working in good-paying jobs. Deliveries of concrete, lumber, nails, paint, carpet, all had to come through these streets. We would like to thank our neighbors, Joe Tizio at 77 Brook Street, Stephanie Lenahan on 78 North James Street, Yoshi Sushi Restaurant, and all of our other neighbors working with us during the construction period. We are proud of the building that we have built and hope you too feel that we have added a positive upgrade to the community. We hope that you enjoy for many years to come the aesthetic and the amenities created from the redevelopment in this quiet yet vibrant community. We would especially like to thank the Woodbridge Redevelopment Authority, Carolyn Ehrlich, Marta Darden, Heather Lamada, Mitch Fishman, and Councilwoman Sharon McAuliffe for their monthly visits. We also remember Councilwoman Nancy Drum, who is no longer with us, but guided us and shared with all of us a vision for her beloved neighborhood. Every month since this project started, this dedicated group has visited the site to make sure WIC was on pace and in conformance with its role as designated redeveloper. All of them truly took an interest in this project, its outcome, and ultimately its impact on the community. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you to Tom Kelly and the Woodbridge Building Department, along with all of the inspectors and office staff that has been such an important part of this project. It really has been quite a partnership. No town anywhere does it like you do. Every member of the building department is top in their discipline and a true professional. Your staff are amazing and a pleasure to work with every day. Thank you, Mike Gallen and the engineering department. Mike and his department worked with WIC very early to make sure all the utilities and infrastructure were in order and upgraded by WIC and the service providers so that the residents and the neighborhood will be well served for the next 50 years to come. Power, gas, water, and sewer were all improved in this area. Mike advocated on our behalf to all the utilities for prompt action, getting this done and getting the project out of the ground and keeping it moving. Chief Golden and the Woodbridge Fire Department, thank you for your service to the neighborhood. You have been great to work with and are great neighbors. The fire department provided space for WIC and their construction trailer, which is now the improved sitting area just in front of us. Thank you, Director Hubner and the Woodbridge Police. Traffic safety was key in building this project as we went from the ground up, and the officers that WIC hired were monumental in keeping all safe during construction. Thank you, George Brew and Public Works Department, who worked so hard and so close with our team to keep everything in the neighborhood spot on. I know there are many more people deserving of praise within Woodbridge Township, but these are just a few. You don't get to be the best town around without the best people working for you, and Mayor McCormick has that truly wrapped up. Finally, I would like to thank the WIC construction team led by Steve Barthel, Head of Construction, Kyle Lott, Project Manager, Pat McCherry, Superintendent, Adam Iannelli, Superintendent, John Kaharick, Superintendent, Bob O'Reilly, Coordinating Architect, Mike Danella, and Alicia Ramirez, and of course, all the support from the WIC office and WIC team. Thank you to our architect, Kitchen & Associates, and civil engineers, Meridian. This was a 6-day-a-week project that went on without missing a beat during COVID, holidays, bad weather, supply chain shortages, and every other modern difficulty, and a project that was completed without safety incidents to the utmost quality and professionalism. Thank you. And finally, a special thank you to Katie Clay, who has only been at WIC for a short time. She was tasked with organizing this event that you're about to enjoy. Thank you for jumping in and getting it done. With that,
No. We want to say some words?
Okay.
We're going to present.
Yes, right.
Do that, Carolyn, please.
okay.
Go ahead.
So there's really very little left to say. Although I will say that working with Bob Paulus and his family and his team, it's not work. It has been a total pleasure every step of the way. And when Bob tells you that this is where his children grew up and this is where his office is, Woodbridge is his home, he treated this construction as if it is his home with the same love and care. And when you go inside and you see what this building looks like, you will know that this was built with a lot of love. And the people who move in here will be very, very fortunate because they will truly have a great home for themselves. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dan? Yeah, my son Dan is going to say a couple
Yep.
more words.
Mayor, we'd like to present, on behalf of WIC Companies, a check for $7,500 to the Woodbridge Community Charity Fund to be used for senior initiatives. And we present this to you today. And thank you for all the opportunities that you have given us and allowed us to create in our hometown.
Thank you very much.
I'd also like to now call on my brother Tim, who's going to present a check also.
Here we have a check for Phil Hall from the Woodbridge Affordable Housing Corporation.
Yes,
We'd like to thank you for all the important work that your organization does.
we
Thanks.
appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Phil, come on back. Get some good shots.
Oh, okay. Well, come on back in here then.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, don't leave without the real one,
Got the real
okay?
one.
You can tell Phil's not in politics. He walked away from a perfect photo op.
All right, Mayor, one more.
Mayor, can I say a word?
Okay.
I'd just like to say, first of all, thank you. And, you know, Carolyn said it best. Everything that could have been said with all the roses and petals and stuff was said. But there's something that I think everyone should know. All this happened because of a vision, and it's by an outstanding leader, and that leader is the Honorable Mayor Johnny McCormick, who has a vision for Woodbridge, and he's been slowly implementing it. And the thing that he does best, and most, as far as I can see, more than any other mayor around, is that he satisfies the residents of the community, which is the best town around, Woodbridge Township, but he takes care of the seniors, the children's, and the residents, and that's very, very important. And there's an old Chinese proverb that says, may you live in interesting times. Through the Honorable Mayor Johnny McCormick and his administration, Carol Ehrlich and Vito Semaluka, and certainly the Communications Director John Haggerty, what you see standing behind us as you stand looking is a result of those visions, because these are those interesting times, and this is Woodbridge Township, the best town around. Thank you.
I would just like to add one more thing, and that is thank Marta Lefsky-Darden for her involvement. I worked with Marta back in the 90s when I was the town CFO and she was the deputy planning director. We got to know each other, became really good friends. And then by the time I came back here as mayor, she was already the planning director. She actually has had the vision for downtown Woodbridge for so long. And when Carol and I got back here and had the ability and the capacity to see that vision through, she jumped on board 100%. and worked with us every step of the way. Her knowledge of planning and development, her knowledge of building, the zoning boards, planning boards, the rules people have to go through and follow is just unpassed by anyone else in local government anywhere near here. And I just want to say how great it was to have an ally in the very important job as the planning director. When the mayor and the council have a vision and you have somebody in that key spot that controls everything. It controls, as I said, planning and zoning. It controls inspections. It controls permitting. It controls everything. To have somebody of her caliber with her passion in that job has made this so much easier. And on behalf of Carol and Heather and the council and all the Woodbridge Township administration, I want to say thank you to Marta Lefsky-Darden for her stewardship of the township's planning department and her vision for downtown Woodbridge. Good. Cut the ribbon? Okay, we're going to do a cut a ribbon now. All right, let's count down from 5, 4,
4, 3, 2, 1.